Paul, how are you? Oh, Connor, how you doing? You got 1 minute to take a breath. No, anyway, you never know.
Thank you. Evidently, that rang a bell with you people. So sorry to interrupt.
If you would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to whatever member meeting this is under President Vallow. Let's start with the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Emphasis on the bold capitalized text. First, is it true? Second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third,
Will build goodwill and better friendships?
excellent. Fourth,
Will be beneficial to all concerned?
fifth, all right. Sixth,
Bacon.
and oh, beer. See, I was going for corn. So that's all right. That's all right. All right, Mr.
Thank you.
President.
I meant to say corn.
Corn,
did.
corn queen.
I forgot all about corn last Monday.
Oh, that's good.
You're prepping for next year.
I am not.
So
I said
Gary,
corn.
we have it. Gary, we have inspiration and comment.
As I said
Do it as
pepper.
soon as everybody sits down and quits talking. Okay, here we go for inspiration. Attitude is choice. Happiness is choice. Optimism is choice. Kindness is a choice. Giving is a choice. Respect is a choice. Whatever choice you make, makes you choose wisely.
Nice. It's a choice to get here this morning for everybody. Thank you, Gary. And we have some guests here. Does anybody want to introduce their guest? Mr. Steinrich.
I am really pleased to introduce my guests. Her daughter Brooke Lindquist is here, son-in-law Ryan Lindquist, and our two beautiful granddaughters, Delaney and David Lindquist.
Awesome.
They're all
Excellent. Anybody else? All right. That's great.
There's a guy in the end.
Yeah. Are you introing yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
Myself, so I'd like to thank Steve Alexander for inviting myself.
Okay, good. Awesome. Yeah. Bring some more people with you next time. Awesome. Good.
Good follow through on yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a couple birthdays today. Birthdays and anniversaries, members' birthday. Marcus Tangent, who's August 8th, and Kendra Pinkelman, who is August 13th. And then we have, let's see here, we have anniversaries, James and Angie Monroe, August 10th. Yeah. Yeah, so, and I think that's it, unless I missed somebody for now. Till next week, or the week after. Okay, looks like we're good there. So then we have announcements. You know, one thing I want to say is, you know, we're all having a great time and we're talking and the money's flowing. We like money flowing. And it takes some time and we just have to kind of be thinking about respecting our speakers. So we've got to, like, you know, someone's gonna call me out of here at like, 8 o'clock so we can get speakers on, and we kind of run into that, but that's because we're having fun, so let's keep that up. So that's just one thing to think about.
Double meeting.
Yeah, it is, right, yeah, it's almost a politician talking. So anyhow, right, exactly, it's kind of, okay. And so, and after the meeting, we want to kind of put the tables away because we're having the, what are we having? We're having, yes, excellent. So we want to put the tables away, so we'll re-mention that.
Are we gonna ruin this carpet?
Yeah, that'd be red, I don't know, no, we can't, we can't.
It's not gonna be an operating theater.
We'll put some sawdust on the floor, right? So, and Amelia, our great person that's helping with coffee and stuff like that, she'll be going to Hawaii here, so we're gonna maybe need somebody to kind of step up doing coffee, so. I see no one, okay, good. No, but that's coming up in a week or so.
When will your last Rotary meeting be? Excuse me? When will your last meeting be then?
Next week. Last meeting, 16th, she's leaving on the 16th of this month, coming back on the 16th of next month.
So this is the last one.
I'll show Gary how to make it.
It's a science.
And what's all
She
those,
already asked you to make it.
right,
and
don't
we're
use
in
a
trouble
sock
if you
for a
do.
filter. Yeah, exactly, right. Okay, so, off to reports. So Jack, do you have a treasurer's report?
Probably a couple of things. We have one, awesome job on the car booth. I don't think it's ever been that much. So,
It's almost illegal.
and then, our merit trade account is going back up again. So
Good, cool,
turn around.
good. Awesome. Okay, Gary?
Board meeting, on Thursday, August 18th, and I think we're doing it at Kyle's place.
Yes.
Is that right?
Thank you, Kyle.
It's gonna have steaks and a whole lot of other stuff. Just kidding.
Say what?
So,
One pound fillet for everybody.
Golf fund is coming up. Registration is now available. I think Ron has already registered. I have. Chris and his son are going to, so we have one team. So if anybody else wants to put together a team, please do so. For the board meeting, if anybody else, if there are any new member applications, please get them to me so that I can put them in the board packet and get them out. Did farmers market with Lori the other day for the first shift from grade up 5 or 2:35 whenever we did it. And I gotta tell you, we did have some nice conversations with people about Rotary. A couple of interested people, and then a couple of people that actually live here but belong to the Mill Creek Rotary Club. And the point I'm trying to make is that Rotary booth that we have at the farmers market does serve a good purpose. We do give out free water, and that is appreciated and thanked by a lot of people. So we only have, I think, one more, Ryan, one more time, is it, or are we done? Okay, so if a shift comes up, please try and work it. I think you'll find out it's kind of fun, especially if it's not really, really hot, like it was last couple of weeks. That's it.
Awesome, thank you for that. And then Don, President-elect.
Well, things are moving for our planning process for our upcoming Corks and Cakes. Got our application off to the state, and I will need to be talking with anybody here or not here that has some ideas for getting donations from wineries and breweries for wine and beer, obviously. So,
You have some experts in that.
yeah, I think you're one of them. Yes, Scott is one of them.
Bob has a guy, Scott, Lance,
So-
Tracy's done it.
If you could avoid running off too quickly after the meeting, I'd like to touch base with you. And we do need to register any wineries or breweries with the state if they're going to be donating Yes. So I need to get that going right away, even if we just think they're going to. So anyhow, that should be fun. Looking forward to it. Lots of work left to do though.
Yes, lots of work left to do. So I'm thinking, so Monday we're having the auctioneer guy come and meet a couple of us to talk about, his process and things. I'd like to get him to come to speak and kind of show us what he can deliver. And the other thing is, and I think we'll probably start to have meetings frequently about the auction. And that would be done, having some meetings frequently. Yeah, okay. Any questions about that? Okay, great. So then we have club services. Jim's not here. He's on his boat.
He's right there.
He's right there.
He's right there.
Jim's phone. Jim, Jim,
Everything's good.
it's all good. Yeah, that's what I thought I heard him say.
He's supposed to say doing awesome.
Probably shirtless again, so.
That's probably what it is. And then we have community services, Brian.
Blood drive today. And I think we, to kind of piggyback on what Gary was saying, I had a lot of people come up and ask what we would do. So we need to figure out how to get our name in front of everybody. So
Yeah.
when we do street cleanups, what would be great is everybody come out and help. Put on the Rotary vest, and even if you're just walking down the street with a bag in your hand, people are gonna see us. So, I mean, I honestly was surprised how many people just go, what do you guys even do? So, so let's look for some of the stuff that we can actually physically do too. And I think that has even bigger impact if people will see us. So, but we have the blood drive coming up, and then we'll plan another street cleanup, and then the skate park coming up. So.
We do have billboards that are being, yeah, you can design, and so she's having them, so we'll have those to put at each end of the road cleanup or any activity that.
Everything that we do, we literally need something that's big and bright and it flashlights on it too.
We've got that.
So we just need more exposure.
I participated in the street parade with Rotary this year, and we were just at the Vikings. It was super fun and cool, and everyone looked awesome. But there literally was like so much litter on the ground, and I was like walking down the street, and I'm like, oh, I wish I had my litter grabber. And then I was thinking, we should put on our Rotary vests and do that, and we're on the back of the parade anyway, and literally demonstrate to the community what we do. And they're like, oh, right, there's a good connection.
Yeah.
First of all,
We won't be in the back anymore.
you were
Or
skating.
we should. Yes, I was rollerblading. In the fall. Rollerblading biking. With like cheap bikers. I got it with sparkles coming out my tail. Anyway, so that's something to consider.
That's a good idea. Yeah. That'd be kind of cool. You all learn how to rollerblade. Yeah, skateboarders, right. We could get a float and have a bunch of rope behind the float, and you guys could be swerving on their boards.
We should start a skateboarding club.
Yeah, we have a park.
Should build a park.
Yeah,
We just need a really small hole.
yeah, and some knee pads.
Helmet.
And the helmet, yeah, exactly. I don't, yeah, anyhow.
Do we know anybody, Gary?
Getting off track.
Yeah, thanks, good, yeah, good.
Back on track.
Back on track, okay, thank you, Brian. Foundation Jim, are you there? He said it was good.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, so we could back up a little bit and talk about club services and foundation in the same time.
Club services, I think everything's good. Gary's working on getting some coffee. I guess he brought some coffee today, so. And there may be a conflict with the meeting on the 26th, something like that. We may not be there.
Okay.
So we'll let you know on that. But the foundation, if everyone's making their payments, it's the contribution to the foundation, what they do is that's wonderful.
Okay, thanks. All right,
So,
thanks. What?
there was one more thing I could talk about real quick. You guys, you're talking about the community service, but you guys did that popcorn thing last week.
Yeah,
And there's another movie on this week on the 19th.
Okay, that's a Friday, or what day is that?
Yeah, Friday.
Next Friday.
Next Friday.
So there's only
So I'll
one.
be there to help out if anyone wants to,
Oh, okay, good. We have a report in the back. Chris Jacobson.
Don't pressure wash the popcorn.
Or any fine electronics.
So really, what the lesson, the takeaway is, don't listen to Jim. That was his advice. Pressure wash that thing, nobody's business.
It looked good.
Does
It
he
looked
know
great
it's
until
open?
they took the boards out and water slipping out.
No.
Yeah, he had to wear gloves. Yeah.
It's dry by now. It's gotta be dry by
Yeah, good.
Is there a way to get, like, can we just get big bags of popcorn from Costco?
Just really need them.
My theaters used to do that and I hate it. Because
Yeah,
all you do is warm it up and I don't think it's that great.
This is free,
Yeah.
Like 10 people waiting in line for that little popcorn.
Okay, good.
Moving on.
Okay. so- Linda Roth isn't here, so International Services.
right
there.
Where? Oh, hey, Linda. Linda. Hello.
Well, international, there's a delay in the signal.
Yeah, she's on the other side, so yeah. Okay, we'll move on if she comes back. Kyle, do you have anything on membership?
Yes, I believe we're gonna get our application. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm glad to see it back. We were using Oak Creek actually. So
You're
thank you
dating?
for coming back here. He is.
Dating clubs, how do we rank?
I'm back here.
Good. Excellent, yeah, okay.
Just following.
Guilt you into it.
And we're still working on getting more members. So
Okay,
it might still be doing it. So it's good to have that. So-
yeah, okay, good, awesome. Awesome, okay, good. So now we have vocational youth services, and I don't think Kristen Odegaard's here, right?
No.
You have anything, Lance, for?
Rotary scholarship checks went out. Thank you very much, Lori. So another year in the books.
Awesome, cool. That's the best program ever. And Scouts, I think they're gonna be coming in a week or two to kind of give a little presentation on what they've been doing, so that'll be kind of fun. And other than that, they're just growing by leaps and bounds, and the pack's kind of dwindling a little bit, but they're trying to regenerate that. so.
Linda sent a message.
Nothing new to
My microphone isn't working, just here to say, she's doing awesome, yep.
Good, okay, great. Tell her to respond back. Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
Thanks, Linda. You know, she can hear you too.
Okay, good. And I don't, is Vicky Peters here today?
No.
Okay. And then Chris Martin's not here, so Don, did you have anything on IT maybe to piggyback on? Okay.
It works today.
Good, yes, it does. Okay, and then Gary, anything on club communications or anything? Okay, good. And Kyle, or Gary, or Don, anything on Rotarians in Action?
I think this Tuesday is the final painting of the fence down at Swim Beach.
Okay,
5:30 p.m.
okay,
Anybody that can join us, please do.
okay. Good, excellent. And Tracy, do you have anything on application requests and community funding?
Yes, I actually got my act together. I sent out the form. Thank you to Lance and Dawn for replying and updating it. Great words. I sent it back out last night, so now we're on the third iteration.
Revision, okay, good. I
Yeah.
might add something, but
Okay,
later.
yeah, please do. So I sent it just, there's a select 8, you could be in this 8 group someday if you're, you know how to write. So yes, we're working on it.
yeah, good,
Much-
awesome.
much
That
closer, yeah.
that is great. I
Thank
love
you.
It is great.
organizational things, and we're getting to be a company that's kind of getting that big. We got to be like organized.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So anyhow, so now we have the Sergeant at Arms. We have James Monroe to kind of flush us out, and we have
12 minutes.
some time.
Last call to get your raffle tickets. Everybody ready? Okay, okay.
362, I got it.
I do.
All
right.
Mine should be right on top.
All right, we'll have our Rotarian of Lake Stevens member be Mr. Steve Alexander, who was brought by his friend Steve. I'm reading the last three numbers nice and loud.
359.
Let's do it again.
Bingo.
There we go. All right.
Here's my $2.
Mr. Smith goes to Washington and he's going to try and double jump. Oh.
Okay.
All right.
I won, yeah.
All righty. All right. You might be wondering why I'm wearing a Seahawk shirt, because it is Seahawks Friday, right?
Oh, that's right.
They play tomorrow in Pittsburgh. Okay, so this shirt was donated by one of our members at Auction Enough, is that right? Okay. What size? Let's see. It's
Large, I think.
very comfortable. It would fit Kyle for sure. It's a grande, that's large.
Is it a women's large from Costco?
Let's see.
That's a men's large?
Alignment shirt, okay.
You read the tag, is it?
It looks small for a men's large.
Costco does mess up and they actually put things in.
Perfect.
I like it.
So,
Eyeball it and bid on it.
you what?
Eyeball it and bid on it.
Yep.
Eyeball the size.
There we
It'll
go.
fit somebody.
It'll fit somebody.
Whatever that means.
Kids there. All right, shall we start at, say,
15.
15? Okay, do I hear 20? 20? 20? 25?
25.
There we go. Do I hear 30? You really want this for your question, right? 30? 35?
I'll go 35, just to make sure I'll go to 40.
Okay. 50, there we go. Do I hear 100? 100, 50, 50, 60, 60, 60? Going once, at 50. Oh. was that your hand up?
I saw that right here.
You will never find a lake house.
All right, going once at 50, twice, and sold, there we go.
I'm spending more than $50 in fines because I'm not wearing stock gear.
So I looked at the Vegas odds for the Seahawks to win the Super Bowl, it's 150 to 1.
Place your bet now.
All odds.
Wow.
Good return.
Not the worst.
And
Not the worst. I guess it'd be zero.
King 5 News has been doing stories over the last several weeks on players at training camp, and last night they talked about Jacob Eason. So
Yeah, they did.
He's probably got the number 3 spot.
Yeah, he did a lot of plugging for Lake Stevens.
All right, let's get going here. We're gonna do happy butts. Steve's friend Steve's here. Are you happy, sir?
I'm very happy to be
All right, so good. We're excited to have you back, and come next Friday, you'll be a member, I guess, right? You did what? No, we have to take it with the budget. All right. Why are you happy?
I don't know. My dog got out on the roof yesterday, and so, yeah, my dog gets out of anything. But, so when I pulled up, he was standing on the roof of the house, looking out, and the neighbors are all over my driveway, just like, stay, stay. And so I'm happy because it made me laugh, because he gets out of the roof all the time, and the neighbors have, he was gonna jump, he's gonna jump, guys. Not that jump.
He loves it.
Yes, I don't know.
Happy 5 today, my wife's last day of radiation.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to Scottsdale after this evening for the weekend to celebrate that. Very first one.
Have a great time.
Ken?
I'm happy. Last weekend went to my niece's wedding in Wenatchee. Was a great wedding. Saw a lot of people I hadn't seen in a long time. And a couple of apology dollars. I just haven't been around. A lot of work stuff lately. And I won't be here next week because I'm taking my son back to Washington State University, Lowell Harbor of the West. You might as well take it all, as I say.
Can't leave that there.
Happy it's Friday. Amy, did you organize the blood drive?
I spearheaded it.
You heard it? Yeah. This will be the first time that I donated blood since I was a senior in high school. So, yeah, thanks for organizing.
Did you answer all the questions in the
I
questionnaire?
did the
Like, I don't know
questionnaire this
anybody
morning.
that's getting through that.
Yeah.
It's.
Last
it's just
stand,
email when you made your
rest-
plan,
Oh, wow.
tell you, and it's like, how
Hey,
do you
now.
get around all-
Hey now,
Michelle?
hey,
Had a great visit with grandkids in Spokane this weekend and came home to water pouring out of a light fixture in our ceiling. Because the drip pan for the air conditioning is overflowing.
Because it's really one pump.
it's cool, it's cool there.
So hopefully the HVAC guy comes today.
And then the drywall.
It goes on. Great trip visiting my brothers up on San Juan Island.
Did you fly up there?
What was that?
Did you fly up there?
No, just took the ferry over.
Took the ferry over.
Yeah.
So I'm happy it's Friday. It's always fun to be here and all you guys, gals and guys, and it's just a lot of fun.
Okay. We've
I'm trying to-
established that.
I Venmoed already because I don't have any cash, but just happy to be here. Happy it's Friday.
Awesome.
I'm happy to have a visit from my grandson and great grandchildren last week from Albuquerque. We just had a wonderful. I had somebody driving me around.
Well, that's awesome. All right, folks online, Mr. Jim, where are you?
Linda is happy that she has her other sister visiting from Kansas City.
All right.
Oh, cool.
Another member.
So I'm up at Stewart Island, Reed Harbor today, and I'm happy because I haven't hit anything and everything's working fine.
Props are still turning.
All right, good deal. Welcome.
Yeah.
Up to that reef that Northwestern did.
Yeah.
They're hiring ferry drivers.
Of course, they're down a boat, so it might be a while.
So one lonely dollar is what I've got left, but yeah, with my wonderful chicken story, because I know you love hearing about the chicken. The rooster's very loud, and one of the baby girls finally gave me her first egg, and it's so cute.
All right. Larry.
Yeah, I'm just happy I don't have a dog on the roof.
Okay. Lauren?
Okay, well, I'm gonna put $5 in, but I got a couple things to be happy about. My koi pond was cleaned this last week, and the fish are so traumatized with all the activity that they're in hiding, so you can't find any fish, but they're in there. All the same.
Was it the Great Heron Cleaning
And then,
Service?
Yeah.
One of the dollars is we finally, Lori came over and we finally got my patio all cleaned up again. It was an absolute mess.
Tell me you didn't sweep it all into the pond.
We did the pond cleanup. It all went on the grass, and the grass is really happy about all this pond water.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Okay, and then last but not least, my Tesla is all really happy. It is not costing me very much for transportation. I looked it up on the phone a few minutes ago, and in the last 30 days, it has only cost me $9 to do all of my driving.
Wow. I spent that going to work and back.
Yeah.
There's a couple happy books in there. I had a really cool opportunity. We organized Marcus Tadgett and Jamie Gentry and their pontoon boats, and we took 19 of the residents of Ashley Point around the lake.
Wow.
Some of them did not run the lake in over 40 years.
40?
They said that it was changed quite a bit.
Where'd you change it?
There's some great stories and great oohs and ahs going on.
So here's my happy bug. I'm excited for that blood drive today, because I haven't passed the test since before high school. So I'm at 2:15, so whoever is at 2:15,
Rochelle, I just wanted to make sure that you were really gonna come.
I'm coming.
So I got you. You don't get them until I have your
Take it
attention.
all. I need it all for shit.
I wanted to be sure.
But you haven't, I didn't get an email about volunteering today, so, you have
I
enough
knew
volunteers?
that Brian Rubis had a little bit of trouble getting folks for, the farmer's market, so I just committed my day. So I'll be here from 10 to 5.
So we don't need any volunteers?
If anyone wants to come in, well, you're all kind of coming in, I thought, if you want to give me a break, that's cool, but.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Sure, sounds good.
Awesome, cool. Next.
Happy to be back. I believe I came back in '06 to present on donating bone marrow, so glad to be back presenting in a different capacity.
Oh, we'll have to have you back.
Yeah, thanks. I know. What are you happy about? Are you happy that you got out of bed? Yeah.
All right.
Everything.
It's still summer break. Mr. Collins, we do go back to
But it's gonna
It's
happen.
19 days.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Just happy that I had my entire family with me this morning.
So cool.
I have $5 happy, one for each of my wonderful guests. Awesome. Oh, and I forgot, I got another guest. My wife Dawn is here.
Yeah. You can come home now.
Today's Friday, and most of all, I'm happy. And I'll be going to a place for 1 month.
That'd be cool.
Family reunion.
We'll have a good, safe trip.
Thank you.
Took a drive to Idaho last Saturday with my granddaughter and my wife to pick up a golden doodle puppy. So we were in Boise, so I got to see my other granddaughter, and we drove home the next day.
Cool.
Exciting. And the dog barked a few times. Pretty good little puppy though.
Once per month.
Yeah.
Kind of like a smoke detector with a battery is going in.
Mr. Smith.
Well, I'm happy. We had our first building committee for the food bank meeting yesterday. Rotary is well represented. And I don't know if anybody noticed, but we have the forms all up for the foundation. So I guess officially we are going vertical.
All right.
Okay, well, I'm happy Lauren mentioned the test, and you had me scared there for a second, Lauren. Usually you start off with your Tesla story. I was getting worried you were gonna bring one in the Rotary today. Happy for a blood drive. I haven't donated blood in 30 years, so that's kind of a cool deal. My synthetic grass goes down Thursday. Happy I never have to mow a lawn ever again in my life as long as I live in this house.
Lawnmower for sale.
What's that?
Lawnmower for sale.
I'm gonna put it out front on free, just to do my part for the community. And then I get to pick out, my wife and I pick out our puppy, Sunday, and then bring the new puppy home on Friday.
I hear there's a golden doodle.
English cream, she's Beansy, our other dog is Frankie, so we have Frankie Beans.
Cool.
Good.
Cool beans.
English cream.
English for okay.
Retrievers.
I'm gonna give a full 20 today because I am also happy for the blood drive, and I'm just really thankful for Lake Stevens and Rotaries for their support, for the impact that it's gonna have to truly save lives for that cancer patient, that unfortunate trauma victim, for that brand new mama. So this is gonna reach far and wide, and I'm excited that Rotary and Lake Stevens is showing up. I also wanted to report that the Aquafest Boat Parade judges had an emergency meeting. And there was a lot of discussion, and the conclusion was that the judges didn't consider the amount of effort that went into the Rotary boat. And they wanted me to report back to you that actually there's 2 first place winners. which
Oh.
includes Rotary.
Awesome. Tell them, thank you.
I know, right? The other boat was a boat that was a paint of the 70s. And they had lots of balloons and tons of children.
Oh,
Yeah, so
We got to up our
your
game.
first place could be shared.
Why are we late last
Oh, yes, we heard about that.
Yeah. Lots of gaming. Indianapolis is a lot better now than Costco.
Steve Hobbs was sad that he wasn't there too.
Yeah, you should have come. That's right.
So I'll owe some happy bucks for next time too, but I'm happy it was our 3rd anniversary the other day. We went to Lombardi's, had a great time. And so I'm excited about that. Looking forward to this afternoon. We'll both be here after you give away the kettle chips.
Awesome, thanks. So our program is Ryan and Brooke Lundquist, who we know pretty well. And Jim, you want to introduce them?
You just did.
Okay. First responder program, so if you want
We're
to.
going to talk about first responder mental health and how that's a real need to be dealt with and how they're involved with those services. So, Mr. Brooke, Ryan.
This is a tough group. We'll try to keep you captivated as much as possible.
Can I switch over here to our? Hi, Jim.
Is it too late to sign up for blood drive?
Thank you for asking. This morning we were filled, but then now I just opened it and there's one 3:15 appointment left.
I'll
So
take
if
it.
you would do, cool. Yeah, cool. I'll send you the link.
Okay.
So no walk-ins at all?
If someone walks in, I think that we can talk with the folks and see how the flow is going, if they can be squeezed in, but essentially that's not set up.
Slow and squeeze.
I was gonna walk downstairs, but,
Maybe I'll run upstairs and grab you. Or
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a kit up to you and I can
I
take
don't
real
want you,
quick.
I don't want you taking.
But she's licensed.
Well, thank you all for having us this morning. We're honored to be here kind of sharing our passion, and we decided that we are going to actually introduce each other. So would you like to start? Would you like me to?
This could go interesting. All right, so what I would say is how amazing life just works, right? When we got married 18 years ago, obviously my beautiful wife, Brooke, had no inclination at all of being into the fire service or first responders. And then our worlds have kind of merged in with 18 years of marriage. But this is my beautiful wife, Brooke. Brooke has about 47 jobs right now that she does really, really well in, including working as the mental health professional for the city or the fire department in Redmond. She works to run the mental health for Seattle Police Department. So our police and fire responders in the area. Brooke kind of helps oversee other clinicians underneath and then takes care of the firefighters and the police officers internally for all of the things that they need. She is just, how long did you work at Northwest? 15 years, worked at Northwest University in Kirkland, teaching. I never thought that I would marry a doctor, but I did. So, and she gave me my beautiful girls over there, Bailey and Delaney. So.
Yeah, so my path was not directly to first responder mental health. So teaching other counselors for the past decade plus, and then having a private practice with another clinician who specializes with first responders. So I've been given this great opportunity to come into her practice and grow my own practice working primarily with first responders and couples who are first responder couples. And that has morphed into being a part of fire department, a police agency. And then I teach down at Harborview for their paramedic students. And so that has really morphed out of my passion based on Ryan's job. So when we met, he was 6 months into his probation as a firefighter for District 7, which is now Snohomish Regional Fire and Rescue. So he covers this area. And he's worked through the ranks. So he started as a firefighter paramedic, moved into lieutenant, battalion chief, and has most recently been promoted to assistant chief of operations. So he has been in this variety of roles that luckily lets me into what does it look like to be a company officer? What does it look like to run a shift? So I have some of the cultural competency that's really important when establishing credibility with first responders. right? If they're going to reach out because they need some assistance, they don't want to explain to you all the acronyms behind the work that they do or what it's like to work 24-hour shifts or 48-hour shifts. And so I've been really lucky to be a family member of someone in fire service so that I understand the unique aspects behind being a responder. And so through that and through some of Ryan's own journey with things that he has seen as a paramedic, calls that he's been on as a battalion chief, that's really given us a dialogue around how do we impact mental health in first responders even more than we already had been doing. And so it's really exciting, like Ryan said, to see our jobs overlap. And when he stopped going on calls, I started going on calls. So now I get to hop in the back of a medic unit or an engine. And some people think, oh, you're here for the community, which is an awesome opportunity, which we do have clinicians for in some agencies. But it's pretty new to have mental health professionals in a fire department or in a police agency serving the people that work there. And so our passion and what we're really wanting to share with you as community members is just this, what we believe is a great need to support first responders on site, on scene, being able to teach them about mental health. I'm coming up on teaching at one of the departments on how to deliver a death notification. How do you tell someone that their loved ones died? They're not trained on that except for on the job, right? So trying to help do some preventative and also be there for when the critical incidents do happen. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay.
Can't follow that.
So when we talk about the unique aspect of a first responder's job, they see more in their year of work, in some places in a week or two of work, than most of us see in our lifetime. So you can only imagine the cumulative effect of that, much less even the effect of one incident on mental health, on relationships, on their well-being, right? So a couple of statistics, and the statistics in this field vary very greatly because they have to be self-reported, right? So you can kind of see a big range. But depression, PTSD is said to be at almost a third because of all of the incidents that they come in contact with. Suicidal ideation is 10 times the rate of the general public. And that's 4 times more than the line of duty deaths, okay? And that's pretty staggering when we think about all of the research, all of the work, all the money that goes into making sure they have the best protective gear, the best training, right? But when we're looking at the rates of mental health, it far surpasses the concerns around PPE. And 69%, so over 2 out of 3 have never had enough time to recover in between their traumatic incidents, right? They leave a call and they're put right back in service to go on that next call. And so realizing, you know, we need to be incorporating some efforts for how do you take care of yourself even in between calls at work. And the research has shown that repeated exposure to trauma, so those multiple events, is more likely to cause a mental health impact than one single incident. Anything you want to add on that?
Nurses, firefighters, police officers, it hasn't been that long. I mean, we're talking just a few years where it's actually been okay in a fire station or with a collective group to be able to say, hey, that call sucked. I grew up in an organization that it was suck it up, we're moving on to the next one. Don't you dare cry, we're moving on. Because if it looked like you were weak, the thought would be that everybody else around you, you wouldn't be able to do your job if the next call came in. And so everyone kept that real tight to their chest. Just within the last couple of years, we are slowly trying to change that culture that it is okay because your first responders, your nurses, your doctors are human beings. And it is okay to have emotion. And if they have emotion or when they have emotion, they are still capable of taking care of the next thing if and when it happens directly behind. And it is a slow cultural shift with these alpha females and alpha males typically in this that don't want to show a lot of emotion. But when you don't show emotion and you just stuff that, this is what happens. You having first responders, military, police officers committing suicide at a rate that is alarming. And at one point, we will run out of first responders if we continue to not take care of their mental health.
And there's some unique aspects of working with first responders. So as Ryan talked about, the stigmas behind asking for help, right? 80% think that they will be seen as weak or not fit for duty if they show some sort of an emotion. And so this is shifting, thankfully, in the first responder culture, this realization that they are having normal reactions to abnormal experiences, right? It's not normal necessarily for us to go and see multiple traumatic events in one day. So they're having normal human reactions to that, and to help normalize, like, it's okay if you need some support for that. And in some departments even, hey, we're just going to stay out of service for a half hour, an hour, whatever we need to kind of be okay to go out on that next call. Confidentiality is huge. Some people don't want you to know that they're reaching out for help. Some people are open to it. Ryan will share one of his stories coming up here, but confidentiality is huge. So making sure that they have a safe place where they can talk to someone, that it's not public, right? So we have peer support teams where they have peers that are trained and they have confidentiality guidelines behind the work that they do. So if they want to talk to someone who does their job on a daily basis, there is that available at many departments. Their schedules vary, right? So the clients that I work with, I don't have people set every Tuesday at 10 or every Friday at 9. It's okay, hey, we're meeting this week. What's your schedule like next week or the following? So having that ability also to go in on a Saturday night at 11 p.m. when they've had a rough kiddo call and just check in, make sure everyone's okay. The levels of trauma, again, seeing just a variety of different things over the course of their tenure. Dark humor is a coping mechanism for sure, so being comfortable with that. Their desire to protect others. This idea of a second family, they really live with their coworkers for sometimes up to 48, 72 hours. And so realizing the collaboration, the camaraderie that people have in these jobs. And then sleep disturbances. Obviously, if you're working a 48-hour shift, you may not be getting solid 8 hours on those 2 nights, right? So realizing how that impacts not only them at work, but also their home life. They're coming home, maybe needing to take a nap. How does that impact their dynamic at home? We don't have time for this video, but when I send it to Gary, he can post it. Is there anything else you wanted to say on unique aspects of? We're doing the real quick version. You want to talk about PTSD?
No, go ahead. You can introduce it.
So as we know, post-traumatic stress disorder is something that is becoming more and more known because we are researching it more, know more about it, and people are being impacted. So up to a quarter of first responders will meet criteria at some point in their careers, whereas the general population is about 3.5%. So it's pretty staggering in terms of 1 out of 4. Some studies show as high as 29% of emergency medical service, so paramedics, EMTs, and 19% of police officers, although a 2020 study found that could be almost up to half. So again, it depends on kind of where you're looking at the research. But there are some things that kind of raise risk and also can be protective. Lower rank, lower years of service, those with a military background might all be at higher risk, as well as exposures to excessive traumas or suicides, relational issues outside of their work environment, and then substance use or abuse. And on the protective side, we really focus on connection with family, connection with their peers and their department. Some that have a religion or belief in a higher power, really that sense of purpose in the work that they're doing can be very protective, as well as what do they do outside of work? How do they disconnect and recharge and plug in that battery so that when they come back in, they're ready to do the job? Are they open to talking about stressors? Is there someone they can offload to, whether that is a significant other, a counselor, a peer? And then self-efficacy, what's their belief in their ability to do their work and to do it well?
I got nothing.
You can talk here.
So I had the privilege of getting into the fire service in 1997. But in March of 2014 was my kind of aha moment, was kind of my epiphany of, oh my goodness, I'm broken. So I had the pleasure of going to OSO when that call came out. I was on duty. Well, it was the next day that we raced up there with the thought and the hope that we were going to pull live people, help people. We don't go and try to pull dead people, right? And that's exactly what we did. For the next 14 days, I was up there in the mud with family members that were on side by side. I had never done that. We worked together as firefighters, but I had never been with family on a hillside digging and then realizing, oh, this is their loved one that they are actually digging for. We pulled babies, small children, moms, fathers, grandparents out of the mud for 14 days, and it was horrible. Horrible. As a firefighter, as a first responder, as a nurse, as a doctor, many times we only spend a finite amount of time and then we push off and we try to, emotionally like, okay, we're done with that. I'm going to move to the next thing. This one was 14 days. So I came home broken, and Brooke, in her studies and with her experience and kind of knowing me, was kind of the catalyst for, well, certainly it can't be just me, right? There's everybody that's probably dealing with some sort of this. And so that was kind of the catalyst for me personally, my journey of, we've got to change the attitude. We would drive home from this call together because we only worked during the day, and we would be covered in mud, and we would obviously smell, and guys would be absolutely stoic. We wouldn't say a word to one another in the 45 minutes it would take us to get home. Not, that was horrible, not, I'm sad, nothing, zero, nothing. For 14 days, there was very little conversation. And it really got me thinking, man, we've lived together. I have been on duty with these people for 15 years, and they're not willing to show emotion to me, and I'm not giving them my emotion. And it certainly was impactful in my life and in the career, as now this trajectory has, placed Brooke to be in the spot that she's in with the PhD and helping other agencies. And now me having a little bit more ability to influence within my own organization, the importance of, hey, what are we going to do into the future? What are we going to convince Chief O'Brien and the rest of the rest of the community for the fire service or in hospitals or police agencies to be able to take care of something that's the mental health component as well as the physical component that we spend so much time on, to make sure that our responders are able to do that. And when they come to our houses in the middle of the night, they're not broken people walking into your house. They are, have some kind of mechanism to lean back on. So that's kind of our passion. That's kind of where we want to go, what we'd like to be able to do and introduce to as many different agencies as possible. Everything costs money. It's difficult to find Brooks and clinicians who are willing and wanting to do that. And so, we've got some big plans and some big dreams to be able to do that, but that's kind of where we're at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so through the OSO experience, Ryan came home, and at the end of those 14 days, a couple weeks later, he's out doing yard work, smells the dirt, kind of transports him back up to OSO, right? Had many nightmares, many experiences where he was really impacted by that experience. And so through kind of conversations and his openness, sought out a counselor and went through some trauma treatment for that, and has been a real advocate of that for others in his organization. Actually comes down, shares his story down at Harborview when I teach on PTSD. And so really has just been, I think that's one of the biggest pieces too, is those who are open and willing to share their stories help normalize and kind of give permission for others to seek that help and support that they need outside of even just their fears. So that's a little bit about what we're focused on. Again, this is a really quick version of that. Here's our contact information. But we're really passionate about taking care of our people who take care of everyone else, right? Making sure that they have a place where they can come and be supported and really process some of what they see on a regular basis so that they can continue to do the work in our communities that we're so grateful for. So thank you for the opportunity to share our passion. And
I know that was really light, gee, but.
I know.
It's
Yeah,
important, it's important though, and I appreciate you guys sharing that.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
No, actually, I think this is awesome. I actually had a short career in police. I know some people have family was around years and other things, but I'll tell you, from my very first call, the very first thing that most of the time did for me, but having someone there afterwards and been like, hey, you know, this isn't normal experience. Let's talk to this person. You didn't really get that. And this is not, I mean, this is important that, but some of the things like this would have been fantastic. In 2014 and now, I mean, it's been huge.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to say, if you guys recall the horrible tragedy on Lake Stevens a few weeks ago with the drownings. During those drownings, the police and fire were absolutely incredible. There was a police officer there within about 30 seconds of the event, walked into this horrific nightmare of hundreds of people on the beach, and they're pulling children out of the water who have drowned. 10 years ago, I feel very confident there would not have been conversation, there would not have been the help if needed or wanted, as we had a critical incident stress debriefing that we did after that. We've had, Brooke was able to get me lots of different contacts, so we gave contacts. We had peer teams that were there, both on the police and fire, that were able to help. We had chaplains that came in from the fire service, which were fantastic, that gave free hugs. It all sounds fun and games until, man, a hug is a pretty incredible thing. And men, not to get really weird, but when guys hug, a genuine hug, there is nothing better than that when you're that broken and you hug. And to watch police officers and firefighters after this really embrace each other to say, hey, this is going to be okay. I do believe it's going to be impactful for them for the rest of their careers, that hopefully they don't have this horrific, traumatic, event that they're just lugging behind them throughout their career. And you get 5, 6 of those in your career and you can't let them go. Then you retire out 20 years later and you cannot be a productive citizen very well because you're so, it's just, yeah, you're so consumed with everything else. So.
Yes.
Yeah. Sounds like a real culture shift within the organization, which I applaud that move. I mean, we had to go through a similar thing. So we've got mental health support specialists at every one of our secondary schools. And the trauma that we weren't addressing before now coming to the surface has really just been so impactful. Not only for adults working with kids on that are trauma-informed practice in a culturally responsive way, but also, just getting kids back on track with their education. I mean, they can't learn if they're experiencing trauma, right?
Absolutely.
Just like firefighters can't work and serve the public with their experience. So, a big applause on that culture shift.
And my guess would be that you would love to be able to hire more, right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
10 years ago, 15 years ago, we didn't know there was a need. Now you realize there's a need and we still can't provide for, all that is actually out there. So.
There's trauma and then add the pandemic.
Oh.
More trauma.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that there might be like an hour or so after a traumatic event for people to just kind of debrief, have a discussion about it. But is there like a day or two to just kind of disconnect, be with your family, depending on the level of trauma? I don't know.
It's a really good question. And I would say it's very dependent upon the individual themselves. Some handle it much better than others. I went on lots of kid calls before I had my own children and thought, okay, this is hard, but it's not devastating. As soon as then I had children and you rolled into those types of calls, it clicked and it was difficult. I also didn't want to take it home to my family. So I had the opportunity mid-shift, if I wanted to say, hey, I'm going to go home. I'm going to go out sick. Somebody come in and fill my position and I'm going to go home. But I didn't want to put all that on my family at home. Because what happens is I don't want to tell the story again. I don't want to, hey, I'm home. Oh, tell me about what your day was. Tell me about what this call was. And then to have to relive it in words was not helpful to me. It was better to stay with the men and women that I just dealt with that call. So, but it's variable. Some people want to go home and be with their family. I want to hug my kids. And we allow that currently to do whatever you need to do. But me personally, I like to stay where I was. I didn't have to answer a bunch of questions. Everybody not only remembers the sounds and what we, the little things, the smells that I wouldn't be able to communicate to somebody and have them truly understand. And I also want to protect them from the horribleness that whatever it was that just witnessed. So it makes sense. Kind of dependent.
So my nephew in Northern California, he's retired law enforcement because of trauma. And he started a nonprofit where he takes first responders out fishing. And they spend the day just being in nature, being in quiet. Is there anything like that up in this area?
Oh, I love that idea. I'm not aware of any. There are a couple of first responder specific inpatient facilities that just focus on first responders. There's one on the East Coast, there's one being built in California, but I'm not aware of anything like that. It sounds really cool.
I would hope there are at some point.
This is just so great with these guys. The whole community comes together. They put on a barbecue for
Oh,
them. They
fantastic.
just, maybe they've never fly fished before, but they just connect with
Yeah.
nature. And there's a lot of healing in it.
It's like Kendra spoke a few weeks ago about bringing people into nature.
That's right.
Yeah.
She was mentioning first responders too, so we need to get Kendra's card to you
Yeah,
guys.
it'd be a great connection.
It always starts up
For sure. Yeah.
First of all, thank you all for what you're doing. It's amazing. My daughter was 14 when OSO happened, and she just, for lack of a better term, manned up and said, I'm gonna go help. She's 14. And I was like, I cannot have you there, digging bodies out. And so she ended up volunteering for a food truck there every day for 14 days. And Aiden Alexander, so adorable kid.
She was amazing.
Just after, and she would come home every day and say, she was kind of quiet, and she's like, it was just a long day. She was tired. Years later, she started talking about the bodies. Yeah. She saw them. Sorry, I mean, it was bad.
Yeah.
Part of the 14-year-old process.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very, very much. Very much.
Great.
And thank her for me, because those types of individuals turn into be our first responders, our nurses, our doctors, our people who, and you guys who just say, I'm just gonna go help, right? I'm just gonna go help people. I mean, for all the stuff that we see in the community, for all the stuff we see on TV that is horrible about the world, there are people like your daughter who say, I'm just gonna go. I don't know any of these people. I'm 14 and I'm just gonna rally and I'll figure it out. And that is,
Well, the food was a highlight for you guys when
well,
you were up
I
there.
mean, of course.
Kept you going for sure.
And she's got her own trauma, right? I mean, what a
That's the
small
hardest
age.
part. I mean, it's just
Very
breaks
much.
my heart because she never shared what was going on years later.
Yeah.
And that's what a great article.
Oh.
I was just gonna make a comment. I'm a registered nurse and worked in experience in the emergency department and now labor and delivery, And, everyone is hearing on the news that Providence is just collapsing and imploding on itself. And I believe it's because our staff has been so traumatized and it just keeps happening.
Yeah.
And the lack of effort for retention versus bringing in new blood just to break them. It's just like unsustainable.
Yeah.
So we have chaplains, right, for our patients and families who are experiencing trauma, but like there's our support.
Absolutely.
We're asking management for some, but anyways, I thought you have a realistic approach and could really be a huge benefit.
Yeah, it's so important to have that support as you're supporting others.
I love being in contact.
Absolutely. Good, yeah. Feel
And,
free.
additionally, tomorrow, are you guys familiar with the Run for Your Life?
Yes,
event?
yes.
Will you guys be there?
He's doing the Spartan Super Race tomorrow, and the kids are doing the Spartan. So we had already signed up for
We're sure
that.
it's fine, a pint low, evidently.
Yeah.
It should be fine for that starting tomorrow morning.
But definitely
What can
next
happen?
year. Yeah.
And then again, like you guys were saying, like to have like firefighters, police, registered nurses saying, we're utilizing mental health resources.
Yes.
You can too, right? Like, cause.
It destigmatizes it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
In addition, we can talk to you about your union, because there are things that we can do to try to get into your future contracts, so that you have half an hour of overtime or 15 minutes of overtime after a shift or whatever is negotiated, that you guys would think as a decompression to have somebody there, a clinician, to be able, because not every day do you walk home thinking, oh, that was horrible, but you want somebody there when you need somebody there who's just taking care internally of the staff, not the family. They have theirs. You are human too, and we forget that when we bring, sick people in or dead people in, we don't think about the staff, the doctors, the nurses, the techs. They're human, and they've got to deal with this. And we take really good care of the family members, but we need to, that same level of effort needs to go to all the responders.
I think that's fantastic. You just seem like there's that bad stigmatism of mental health. You can't tell anybody you're seeing a psychiatrist or a sociologist or whatever. And that kind of thing. But now it's getting more open and more, it is a real situation, and then you guys are bringing it to light, and so are other people's, and laws are changing because it is a real thing. And you cut yourself, you get stitches or whatever, and you heal up, but your head's the same way. When you see something traumatic like that, you don't see it every day, so it's there. And it might pop out later, so you need help. And it's okay to get help.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the big message.
And it's okay to hurt. Right? More than likely, the person next to you is hurting the same way. But if you don't talk about it, you feel like, oh, it's just me. I'm just the only one. I'm weak. Oh, I'm just, I can't do this job.
The worst, keeping it inside.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's cool. That's great.
When you admit that, does it make it a little bit easier?
I think so. I can only tell from my experience personally. There is nothing better than to be able to finally share, to be able to open up, and be able to be that one. Now, I'm in a position now where people have to listen to me, I guess. But it's amazing that when you open up and just say, hey, that one was rough. Can we talk about that? I can't tell you how many times I would just take the crew to Starbucks. So, hey, we're going to pull ourselves out of service. That was a horrible call. Let's just go to Starbucks. How about I buy you coffee? We're going to sit for a half an hour. Now, other calls are coming in, right? So it is a little difficult. We can't always take our time off because there are still community members that need us. But on those events, predominantly children, which are very difficult for us all to lose a child or see somebody lose a child or something that's really traumatic, let's just go sit for 30 minutes and 45 minutes. We used to sit in silence, but it's amazing now where you can actually, put your hand around someone. I've seen people cry. I never saw a firefighter cry. Never saw a firefighter cry in uniform. It's okay, right? Everyone's human. It is okay. So yes, it does feel better when you can let yours out and realize you're not the only one that call was horrible for. In addition, and not to belabor the point, but it's not always the most traumatic event. Sometimes people are dealing with, I just lost my dad. I just lost my mom and the firefighter. And that next call is an elderly male and elderly female that passes away, which happens every day. And so there's a lot of people that are like, hey, that wasn't a big deal to me. And unfortunately, people pass away. That's kind of life. But there are some people that, hey, I am personally going through that in my life right now, and they are wrecked. And so you have to, create that psychological safety in the cab of that unit, that whatever that call was, whatever, it doesn't matter what it is, be okay to say, hey, I need a couple of minutes, that one hurt. And then
Triggers never go away.
Never. And if you were in the military, thank you for your service. You all have those triggers, right? You all went through that at some point. If you were a spouse of one, there's a lot of different things. The pandemic, we might have our children 10 or 15 years from now might be having triggers now that they don't, or 15 years from now that don't even know they're having triggers, but it goes back to you know, all the kids in school with all the trauma. I mean, who knows what's going on?
Mom
the
is their homeschool teacher.
Yeah.
I mean, that was.
30 months has been like, oh, you know, we just don't know what that looks like, how that's going to be impactful of our generation.
I'm gonna, we have new teacher orientation on Monday, starting Monday, and one of the things I'm gonna share with them is an email I got from a student from 35 years ago, talking about the trauma that she experienced in her life and how that was preventing her from doing well academically, and thanking me for pushing her to graduate from high school.
Wow.
35 years later.
Wow.
Yeah.
The impact.
We never know what's going on.
Never know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you all for the opportunity to come and share our passion.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Brooke. We have a $25 we donate to Lake Stevens Education Foundation in your guys' name.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thanks so much.
Brooke is a Lake Stevens High School graduate and Ryan's a Cascade High School.
Mr. Collins was a teacher when I was.
Cascade High.
And I haven't aged today, right?
Meeting adjourned. Don't forget to help put the tables away.
Yeah.
However Amy wants them. And also, if you want to be involved with Dawn right here about corks and kegs, please see Dawn.
Yeah.
5 tables and 20 chairs.
That's all we need.
That's the way.
Yeah.
So you just get, what do you need? Just names to know that we're gonna reach out to them. We're out.
And now.
Well.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So I got a 9 o'clock meeting, but how about if I email you? I'll take Brew Bakers out. So I wear it.
This only applies to actual wineries or breweries. So Brew Baker isn't brewery.
Nobody takes like Stevens for a
All right, Scott.
Okay,
I'll check with him.
thank you.